Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to our channel. After listening to this very important news, you will get to understand why a lot of politicians are getting very uneasy, especially Nigerian politicians, and some judges are getting unusually uncomfortable what is going on. The moment you get to find out all of this. And like the saying goes, say the chicken has come home to roast. And let's find out in full details what is going on. This is the latest and the full details of what is going on between Nigeria and the United States, as the US Senate are pushing very strong bills concerning our Nigerian politicians and leaders of concern. But before we go into the newspaper, kindly subscribe to our channel. According to the news proper, a new bill currently moving through the United States Congress has placed Nigeria under intense international scrutiny, with far-reaching sanctions proposed for Nigerian political office holders, judges, and even security officials accused of enabling religious persecution. Now, according to what we gather, a report has it that the legislation sponsored by Republican Senator Ted Cruz is titled the Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act of 2025 and has passed its second reading in the U.S. Senate. It has now been formally referred to the Senate Committee on Foreign Relations, marking a major step in what could become one of America's toughest policy positions towards Nigeria in decades. The bill is a follow-up to House Resolution 594, already backed by 18 Republican members of the U.S. House Committee on Foreign Affairs. The draft legislation relies heavily on reports from major international bodies and watchdogs, including the Open Doors World Watch List 2025, and the report claims 1. More than 380 million Christians face severe persecution globally. 2. Nigeria accounts for 82% of the 4,998 Christians being brought down worldwide in 2023. The bill also quotes investigations by Vatican News and Genocide Watch stating that A. Between 2009 and 2023, at least 52 Christians were brought down in Nigeria. 52,000 Christians were brought down in Nigeria. More than 34,000 moderate Muslims also were brought down during the same period. About 5 million Nigerians were displaced due to faith-based movements. Now, these alarming numbers form the backbone of Senator Cruz's justification for urgent legislative action. In his words, and I quote, "Religious persecution and violence against Christians and other religious minorities in Nigeria is endemic, driven in significant part by the jihadist and institutionalized Sharia law in large parts of the country." Senator Cruz said he expects the U.S. Congress to move the bill expeditiously. Now, the bill seeks to declare Nigerians country of particular concern. One of the most consequential provisions in the bill is the directive to the United States Secretary of State to officially designate Nigeria as a country of particular concern, CPC, under Americans' international religious freedom laws. If approved, this designation would immediately trigger mandatory sanctions related to U.S. military cooperation, 1. Equipment and arms sales, U.S. economic assistance, training and intelligence collaboration. Nigeria would also be placed under annual monitoring, with Washington required to publish a public list naming officials, judges, security agents, and non-state actors linked to these moves against Nigerians, individuals who enforce or support blasphemy laws, actors involved in the harassment or imprisonment of minorities. Then the first list must be published within 90 days and yearly thereafter. Now, the draft law explicitly mentions 12 states operating Islamic legal system, claiming that their blasphemy laws violate global religious freedom standards. And the affected states are Bauchi, Borno, Gombe, Jigawa, Kaduna, Kano, Katsina, Kebbi, Niger, Sokoto, Zamfara, and Yobe. Now, according to the bill, Nigeria must 1. Amend or repeal such laws, 2. Prosecute individuals involved in religious bringing down of persons, dismantle extremist networks, otherwise the country will remain on the CPC blacklist indefinitely. Now, report has it that the proposed penalties are unprecedented. If passed, the law would allow the U.S. government to impose visa bans, asset freezes, and criminal restrictions, and so on and so forth. Now, governors of states where these religious things go on would have to go through this as well. Judges and magistrates involved in all of this will also have to face these sanctions as well. Police and prison officials who enforce such controversial laws will also go in for the sanctions as well. State and non-state actors complicit in this violence or neglect will also be facing these sanctions as well. Now, the bill specifically mentions sanctions against anyone who prosecutes, convicts, imprisons, or otherwise deprive individuals of their liberty on charges of blasphemy. Now, this includes cases already publicly known, such as death sentences, mob attacks, and imprisonment linked to blasphemy allegations in parts of the North. Before the bill advanced, a U.S. House subcommittee on Africa held hearings where Nigerian religious leaders, activists, and international observers described disturbing scenes from Plateau, Benue, Southern Kaduna. Witnesses told lawmakers that communities live under nightly siege. They live under nightly siege with farms destroyed, homes burned, and villagers brought down, kidnapped by armed groups labeled as bandits locally. However, U.S. law categorizes such actions as terrorism when they target civilians for ideology or political purpose. Meanwhile, China, one of Nigeria's strongest diplomatic partners, has openly criticized the bill. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Miao Ning said that as Nigeria's strategic partner, China firmly opposes any country using religion or human rights as an excuse to threaten other nations with force. Now, of course, potential impact of this bill is that if enacted, experts say that the bill could restrict U.S. military sales and financing to Nigeria, limit joint training and intelligence sharing, impose visa ban on top Nigerian politicians, affect Nigeria's access to U.S. defense and development programs, strain diplomatic relations with Washington. Nigeria would only be removed from the CPC list after U.S. verifies that a significant reduction in anti-Christian movement against them, dismantling of extremist networks, revisions to blasphemy laws, transparent prosecution of offenders, path to becoming law. For the bill to become law, it must go through review and amendment by the Senate Foreign Relations Committee, approval by full Senate, passage of a similar bill in the House of Representatives, reconciliation into a single document, forwarding to the U.S. president, presidential signature or veto, a possible two-thirds override of any veto. Now, given that Republicans hold 52 seats in the Senate and control the House, it is believed that the bill has a strong chance of passing. All right, let's go and wrap it up. Let's meet in our comment section. What's your take?